Hey, what's up? It's Dream, and today I'm back for another weapon and armor update guide. This time, farming for the new Berserk series that just released this Wednesday with patch 1.9. While our last weapon series, Origin, gave HP as its bonus stat, the Berserk weapon series bonus is physical attack. This means that it'll be our best in slot physical damage weapon for the next few patches. And then of course, as always, the newest armor will always be the new best in slot defensively. For achievement purposes, it's recommended every patch to craft one of every tier 4 weapon and one of every armor piece if you're an endgame player. However, this isn't mandatory. You'll be perfectly fine only crafting what you need for your roster of physical DPS and things that you can actually make use of. If you made a bunch of Origin weapons already, they're still great, and honestly, they're still the better option for utility or magic-based characters, as those characters will get more use out of the 300 HP bonus than they would from a single-digit bonus to magic attack. That being said, personally, I'll be making a bunch of these weapons for sword and for bow to help with my warrior and archer job towers, since my nukers in there could really use the physical damage bonus. Once I finish that, I'll be looking forward to making weapons for the Largo Cup, which all my physical DPS will be in for as well, but I'm probably going to skip over making things like fans, staffs, or tomes this patch personally. With that out of the way, let's talk about how to make this new series and where to farm its materials. The blacksmith for this patch is in Grand Port once again, so once you've picked up your first couple Berserk materials from progressing through the Bestower of Power 3, you can return to him, see the weapons, armor, and enhancements added to their shop. As with every patch, the base weapons and armor are going to be crafted using the normal mob drops in the new dungeon, while the weapon enhancements to tier 2, 3, and 4 require daily elite mob drops and the respective battle-tested weapon. You can teleport to the dungeon by clicking on it in the middle of the ocean once you've visited it before. Once inside, you will see a number of waterways with forced bathing and smaller island dungeons within the map. The two elite mobs we want from the first map are found on the bottom left and bottom right islands. I personally like to start with the bottom left island since it flows into the other one more naturally, but you can do them in any order that you wish. Once inside the bottom left island, we will meet our very first daily elite mob, the mighty killer Conch. As always, we want to click Memoir really quick so that we put a save point in front of him in case we have to close our game to reset for his drops. And once we're inside of the fight, we see that his weaknesses are sword, axe, tome, lightning, and wind. He has a relatively low HP pool, so he should be pretty easy to nuke down in a single or two turns. Now, the drops that we want out of our killer Conch every single day are polished stones. He has the chance to drop 4 to 6 polished stones or 6 refined stones. We want to reset and make sure that we're killing him every single day to receive polished stones from every single kill. However, it does not matter the number that you get as long as you follow the outline I have in this guide. If you did not receive your desired drops from him upon the kill, close out your game on the results screen and you will be able to fight him again, no harm, no foul, as the game does not save your fight and your drops until you are out of the battle screen. Alright, now that we're back at sea, we're going to want to go up a little and then make a turn to the right and start heading down to the bottom right isle. On a side note, it's worth visiting each of the other islands on the map independently, as most of them will have an NPC for you to interact with after you've beaten the chapter, or they will have an item waiting for you. Once we step foot onto the bottom right isle, we will find our second daily elite mob, the menacing treasure bones. This one is going to be a little bit more tanky than the other ones, so I recommend focusing his weaknesses with your daily clear roster the hardest. He is weak to spear, axe, tome, ice, and light. He has the ability to drop us polished stones, refined stones, and softened stones. This means, just like Origin farming with the Flame Wisp, we want to alternate what drops we get from Mr. Bones every single day. This is what allows us to not care about the quantity of drops that we get as long as we're getting the correct drop from each mob during the day. That being said, you're going to want 1 kill daily to give you polished stones and 1 kill daily to give you refined stones. It doesn't matter which one he gives you on your first clear as long as it's not softened. You'll be resetting your second clear of him in the Bonfires of Battle later to make sure that you get the other one that you did not get from the first one. In my clear here, you can see that he drops me polished stones. That means later on I'll have to remember this as I will be resetting for refined stones on my next kill. Now it is time to proceed to our next set on the second map. I prefer to teleport to the Isle of Orsa and walk back into the second map from the back half, as it's a little bit quicker personally. The isles that are holding our daily elite mobs for this map are the one in the very bottom middle and the one that is the leftmost center. I like to start by heading straight down and going for the bottom middle first, but again, the order that you do them in, not too important. Just like in the first map, I definitely recommend checking out each of these islands individually after you beat the chapters. There's lots of items and lots of cool things for you to find. Also, if you're a new player and you're still working on getting EXP into your roster, there's a new guaranteed Koi Chubby Kate that spawns in the rightmost middle aisle once you've beaten the chapter. You can farm this every single day for bonus EXP to add on to your ad Kates. Once we step on to the southern middle aisle, we can see our third elite boss for the day, the Mighty Sea Anemone. This is another elite with a really low HP pool, so he should be relatively easy to nuke down pretty quick, and he is also one we are not resetting for ever, basically. He only drops refined stones in quantities from 5 to 8, and like I said, it doesn't matter the quantities that we get as long as we're following this route. You can reset if you want to go for 7 or 8 every single time. This will allow you to make a bonus weapon about every other day, but it's not necessary, so I wouldn't worry about it if I were you. Once we hop back onto our boat, we head over to that leftmost center aisle to finish up our last elite, at least in our first round of kills for the day, as we will be making our way over to the Bonfire of Battle next. And once we step onto the aisle, we will find ourselves facing our last elite, the menacing crested portly penguin. God, that's a mouthful. We save in front of him, so that way we can guarantee the drop we want from him at the end of the fight. As his name implies, he's a little bit thicker, just like Mr. Bones was, but this time he is weak to bow, fan, lightning, and wind. This boss has the ability to drop you both strengthen and soften stones, so you want to go for the drops that you are working for that weapon for that day. Let's say you're making a sword like I am today, as always, then you're going to want strengthen stones from your first kill of him, and then whatever you want as bonuses from your second kill, really. In this clear, you can see that he gives me soften stones, but that's perfectly fine. I can get my strength stones from my next clear of him coming up here. We're going to head up to the Nameless Town's Tower of Remembrance, and then into the Bonfire of Battle 2. We're going to head on over to the right and enter the C portion of the Bonfire of Battle 2, and this is where our final elites will be for the day. All 4 of the big boys that we just killed will be in the top 2 rows right here. So let's run over and do our second killer conch for the day. Reminder, we're going to get polished stones from every single kill of this every single day. So reset until you get your polished stones. Doesn't matter the quantity. Next, we're going to head up and get our second kill of the sea anemone. And of course, again, only drops refined stones. Don't have to reset for quantity. Go in and grab them real quick. Then back on over to our big portly penguin. And we kill him getting our strengthened stones that we require for our sword today. And then last but not least, we're going back down to Mr. Treasure Bones to grab our refined stones since we got polished stones in our first kill. If you got refined stones in your first kill, this is where you're coming to get your polished stones finished for the day. Make sure that you kept track of what you got the first time. If you forgot, you can always go back to the blacksmith and check what you need to make your second step. Sometimes Mr. Bones here and your conch will troll the shit out of you and give you exactly what you're not looking for over and over again. But it's worth sticking it out and getting what you need from every single daily clear so that way you can make at least 1 weapon per day. I personally sat here and reset Mr. Bones for 30 minutes while making this video today, and sometimes it just be like that. But we did finally get the drop we're looking for, so now we can head back to town and make that very first Berserk 4 sword. To do that, we're going to head back over to Grandport, walk inside the blacksmith shop, and once we talk to her, you'll see that we're turning in the rewards enough to make an entire weapon by itself. And so, since I am making a sword as my first weapon today, we're going to go over to the base weapons. We're going to make the base Berserk sword. Easy peasy. And then we're going to head on over to the enhanced arms. You can see that we unlocked Berserk sword 2. And we're going to go ahead and upgrade it using our mats we just farmed. And then we can go ahead and go straight to a 3 once unlocking that. And then, of course, since I have leftover BT weapons from last patch when I made a ton of swords, I have an extra one left over. I can go straight to Berserk Sword 4. Now I'm going to show you guys a comparison of trading up an Origin Sword to a Berserk Sword on my Lars, just so you guys can see how much gain it actually is. Go over here, yep. Plus 49 weapon damage, along with a +1 to grade. That grade will only matter in overworld fights like level 100 NPCs. It won't affect stuff like Largo's Arena. However, that 50 physical attack definitely is going to. So with our elites killed and our weapon made for the day, let's talk about armor. Like I said at the start of the video, armor is always an upgrade patch to patch. However, it is a very small upgrade patch to patch. You can see that it gains just a few single digits of defense in each category depending on the typing, and then of course that 1 grade upgrade. So if you're struggling against overworld fights like BT NPCs or level 100 NPCs, this will make you a little bit tankier to maybe clear those fights. Since Yan Lan's cup was very physical based and I made a shit ton of physical defense armor with Origin, this time I'm going to be making the mixed set, the equality set for the Berserker cap and the Berserker vest. After farming in various maps in the new dungeon, including Isles and on the water for around 20 minutes each, I came to the conclusion that the place that I was getting the most equal mats and having the best time getting fights was an island where we get our killer conch kill for the day. That is the first map, bottom left island. It has one of the longest walks that you can trigger on any of the new maps by just pinging one side of it and then walking there automatically, meaning that you're going to trigger more encounters with less map clicks overall. On top of the fact that everything in here is basically weak to lightning, so that you can use Cyrus or Therese to just completely knock down every single enemy with one attack, and then move on to the next. I personally set up a party where I have both Cyrus and Therese, so that way I can use all of Cyrus's mana and then use all of Therese's mana. That way I have to make less trips back to the island. Taking advantage of just how many mob encounters I can kill between their 2 SP pools, I would usually walk away with 9 to 11 of every single mat every single time I would make a trip back to the inn, meaning that I could finish off my vest and cap farming in about 2 hours, just like I could for Origin. So yeah, this is the best map that I found for farming all 4 of the mats equally. If you're trying to hard farm some Reaper tree branches or gold crystals at the end, the very first water map where you're on the boat is really good for Reaper tree branches, and the second map when you're on the boat is very good for gold crystal farming. So if you're behind on either of those 2 things, you can try to hard funnel by going in the waters there. However, even then, I chose to just stuck it out here because I personally hate the lag that happens on the water. It's beautiful. I'm glad they did it thematically, but for farming, I'm going to stick on the island and just, put my nose to the grindstone. And that's going to be it for this guide. Thank you guys for watching. If it helped out, please make sure you subscribe, check out the future videos. I also have a backlog of stuff helping for arena fights, for EXP farming, either through Kate's or through the Nut Memoirs. I also have videos on older gear sets if you're in older patches and you're getting walled by bosses. I have a new player guide, and I also have a bunch of pool videos where you can watch me be a disgusting degenerate. So definitely check those out if it sounds like it's up your alley. I also stream on Twitch most nights. We're playing different games on over there. So definitely check it out, twitch.tv/dreamt if you're into that kind of thing. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay cute, much love, booyah.